Okay. I got it. All right. Hey, y'all. So, today I want to share another testimony. And this testimony is about two Thelmas in my life. One of the Thelmas, we'll call her Little Thelma. And the other Thelma, they called her Big Thelma. Now, Little Thelma was my mother. And Big Thelma was my grandaunt. Little Thelma, y'all, is responsible for, y'all see all this gray? That's my mama. There's other things she could have left me. We ain't gonna talk about it. But she decided to leave me her signature. So, both of these women played such a significant role in my life. And at the time that it was going on, it didn't feel like it. I couldn't sense it. I didn't see it because it was so painful. So let's start with, all right, child. My phone gonna try to act funky tonight, but I'm gonna try for my internet. Okay, try to get this right. All right. So we're gonna start with Big Down. So, which is my grandaunt. So one day, it cut off again. I'm sorry. One day, my aunt called me, like she usually did, and asked if I would take her to a funeral. And I was like, yes. However, this was the very first time that my Aunt Thelma called me. We called her Mama. That my Aunt Thelma called me to take her somewhere, and I did not want to take her. I mean, I would take Aunt Thelma places all the time. It was no issue. We was raised to cater and help and support our elderly. It was just a part of it, our life. It was a no-brainer. So she would call and say, Kenny, I want to go here. I want to go to the country. I want to do this. She would do this to me and other family members that she knew didn't mind taking her where she wanted to go. But this was the very first time that my Aunt Thelma asked me to take her to a funeral, and I did not want to take her. I mean, I did not want to take her to the point where I was asking other people to take her, and I could not get anyone to take her. And I did not know why. I had this feeling where I did not want to take my aunt somewhere. So anyway, it was also the very first time that she ever called me to confirm that I was coming to take her. Like, she never had to call. Once she said, Kenya, I want to go somewhere, I'm like, okay, Mama, when are we going? Okay, what time? And I would often take her to funerals, just see her family. We go in the country. We go everywhere, right? This time I didn't want to take her. So anyway, it's the day of the funeral. I show up at the house like I was going to do. I show up at the house and she said, Kenny, I said, ma'am. She said, you ready to go? I said, yes, I'm ready to go. And anytime I'm going to go somewhere, you would think we're going on a long trip every single time, because she's going to bring a pillow, some paper towels. She's going to bring some drinks. She got a little cooler. It was a whole event. Although we was going to a funeral. Oh man, I wish I could tell you about the funeral we was going to. I'll tell y'all another day. But anyway, something significant happened, right? Before we left the house. My Aunt Thelma, hey MJ. My Aunt Thelma, my nephew Monty was in the house with her. He was staying with her at the time. She called Imani from the back of the house. And she said, Imani, come here. And so he came to the front and she said, Imani, I'm leaving. And when she said that, I felt it. Because it was not a regular, I'm leaving. It was like, I'm leaving. And then whenever I have these feelings, whenever the Holy Spirit nudged me with certain things like that, I kind of push back on it. Like, oh Lord, can you get out your head? And so anyway, she said, Imani, I'm leaving. And she gave him a kiss and a hug. And we went on our way to the funeral. So we get to the funeral. It was such a huge funeral until it was like two parts. We could not sit like in the main church. We had to sit in like a whole nother room, and they had a video of the funeral that was going on in the main part of the church. And we were sitting in the back. So it was like all these rows of chairs. And so we were sitting like in the back row, and then they had like two double doors, and those doors were open. So it wasn't hot like some people think it was. It wasn't hot. It wasn't stuffed. You know, we had a lot of room because we was in another part of the church looking at the funeral. So the funeral was beautiful. It was a beautiful homegoing. And I was so glad I was there. Now, during the funeral also, my Aunt Thelma had noticed this guy. And she kept saying, oh, look at him. His skin is so beautiful. And I'm like, okay, Mama. We call him Mama. She said, oh, my God. Because the guy had got up and walked outside. So she recognized this guy. He had to have been about maybe 54 or 55 years old. I don't know. She just thought he had this beautiful skin. And and what he was wearing, she just thought it was awesome. But, you know, I'll tell y'all something about those Mitchell women. Those women in my family, they kind of flirty, y'all. So watch out for them. So anyway, here it is. We're at the funeral, and we were like the last people to walk out because she wanted to view the body because they still had the body in there as we were leaving. Now, wait a minute, let me think. So anyway, we leaving out of the funeral. They playing that song. Y'all know that song that they used to sing back in the day. I'm going up to yonder. And my Aunt Thelma, she couldn't dance, so she was doing her little. She was like straight here. That's her shout. She was doing her little thing. But another little piece before I go on. While the funeral was going on, I went outside and I turned the car around because the car was facing the cars that was going to the graveyard. And so I went outside, I parked closer to the church. I turned the car around so we could go straight out because the way they was having the funeral was at a church that was close to her house. In downtown Savannah. It also was a church that my grandma used to preach at when she was younger. So it was kind of interesting, because I got to see this church where my grandma used to preach. So here it is. We're walking to the car, and my Aunt Thelma wanted to pause. Now watch this. My Aunt Thelma's in her 80s, but I don't know how old she is because she would never reveal her actual age. Like the whole time. You know, I've been knowing my Aunt Thelma, that's all my life. She never revealed her age. My Aunt Thelma was also very healthy. She retired from the police department. She was in her 80s, and she still worked part-time because she wanted to. She ironed and creased her clothes. She was just a very neat woman. She wasn't walking with a cane or anything. She was good. Yeah. Okay. So here it is. We're walking to the car. I'm like, okay, come on, Mama. And I parked in a really good space so she could just kind of get in the car real easy and we could just head out. So I said, come on, Mama, let's go on this side and so you can get in the car. So no. Mama wasn't ready to get in the car, right? She saw that man again. So she said, hold on one second. There he go. So we standing by the car and I'm looking at her like, lady, let's go. This man walking with his wife, Jesus. So she said, come here, young man, come here. So she waved him over and he came over and she said, your skin is just so beautiful. He did have really nice skin. She said, you have the most beautiful skin and the nicest teeth. I was just telling my daughter here that, look at his skin and you dress so nice. And so he was like, thank you, ma'am. Y'all, I'm getting somewhere, y'all. So he was like, thank you, ma'am. You pretty too. She was like, oh, thank you. And my aunt had some teeth missing. She was like, I got a couple of teeth missing. He was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. So this was the thing. Now watch this. He said, how old are you? Man, my doggy ears went up. I was like, My ears went straight up because I didn't know how old that lady was. So she said, I've never tell my age. They said, lady never tell her age. And so I was just waiting. And my Aunt Thelma said, I'm 89. I'm like, she's 89. I couldn't believe it. I knew she was in her 80s, but I did not know she was 89. I'm like, oh my God, she's about 90. Jesus. I had no idea. So, she's 89. So I was like, this was like finding out the greatest secret in the world. And then she said, and you know that I can remember when I was 2 years old? And then she started telling him different things that she remembered, like from the time she was 2 and on up. She was just kind of just giving him this dialogue. Like, I remember this. I remember when this one did that. I remember when this was over here and this happened and this happened. I had an uncle that was from this place. This one came over here and she was just giving it like she was clear as a bell. Sharp. Right? So here it is. So we get in the car and we're driving after she finished flirting, So we're driving home. And remember, we're not that far from where my grandaunt lives. So we're driving home and we see this lady that she knows. So we stop on the corner. She said, hey, Adrian. Adrian says, hey, because Adrian come by the house to get something to eat. I'm on my eyes, y'all. Okay. I need to cut my bang. So Adrian will come and get something. So she waved at Adrian. So we driving home. And then it was a house that she used to stay at a long time ago. I said, Mama, look, she's a gardener. She would garden and do all kinds of stuff. I said, look, your plant, that tree that you grew when we were little. She's like, yeah, we're going to come by here and cut some off and plant. So I'm like, yeah. So we get up to Liberty Street and we're at the light. And she said, Kenny? They call me Kenny. I said, ma'am. And she would call me Ken. She was like, God bless you. She said, whenever I want to go somewhere, you never tell me no. And you're so patient and you're so this. And she knew that I was like, oh, God, I was trying to find you a ride, lady. Because I didn't know why. I just didn't want to go. And so she said, God bless you. God will always bless you. I said, yes, my mama. And so we're driving. And so what I did not do was I did not take her right home. Like whenever I take my Thelma somewhere, I do not take her straight home. And so, because, when we're out. So by the time we're probably at the funeral, we go to Kroger's, we go over here and go over there. I don't take her home. Because I knew as soon as I pulled in front of the door, we were about to go somewhere else. So I started going, we was just like doing a little tour. So we kept going, we passed her street, and then we turned to this Catholic church on East Bar Street. We turned by the Catholic church. I was just like taking her for a ride. And she said, this one was born in this house. Because, back in the day, children was born in the house. Your uncle, this was born in this house. And your grandma had this one. They were born in that house. And we used to stay right here. So we just kind of toured downtown Savannah. Right? And the same thing she would tell me whenever we go these places. So we're just kind of touring downtown. And then my nephew, Monty, called and said, Auntie, y'all on the way back? I called him. I said, on the way back, just to let him know, make sure everything is straightened up in the house. And she was in the background talking. So I hung up the phone. And then she said, what are you about to do? I said, Mom, I'm about to go get something to eat. And I told her that, just to kind of trigger her mind and see what she want to go do. And so she said, you're hungry? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, what do you want to eat? I said, no, Mama, what you want to eat? She said, I want Popeyes. Now watch this. This is exactly how she did. She said, I want Popeyes. She was looking at me and then she's looking at me and then bubbles start coming out her mouth. Her head dropped. She said, I want Popeyes. Then she looked at me. She said, and bubbles. So I'm like, she had a heart attack. In the car, in the middle of a conversation. Heart attack. I'm driving. Right? Now, at this point, when she says this, we are on Jones Street, which is like one street over from where she lives. So when she does this, I stop and I start doing CPR in the car. Right? And I'm screaming for help. And also at the time, I tried to do my phone so I could call 911. My phone froze. Like I couldn't even, nothing. right? So it is nobody around, literally nobody. It was like I was in the twilight zone. So what I did was, because I needed help, I'm pressing her heart and I'm driving in front of her door. So when I get in front of her door, I'm doing CPR and I start screaming, call 911, call 911, right? I'm doing CPR and the 911 operator is, she's directing me. She's telling me what to do, right? So here it is. Finally, what you call those people? The ambulance come and they shock her. They shock her. And they get her heart going again. So I call my mama and I call my mama. So when we get to the hospital, what you call those people? The EMT say, are you the one who was doing CPR? I said, yes, sir. He said, wow, you did a good job. You know that she died. And because you kept her heart pumping, she came back. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, she good. Like she going to be all right. Come to find out, her brain, the oxygen, she didn't get a lot of oxygen. She was brain dead, brain something. She just wasn't coming back. And that blew me away. It blew me away. Now watch this. My grandma has 10 children. My Aunt Thelma has no children. And at that time, all 10 of them was living. Their mama had been gone for a while. And they want to know, along with everybody else, her daughter, which is my sister, who she raised, what happened to Aunt Thelma. The other thing they want to know is, do you actually know CPR? The other thing they want to know is, why didn't you just drive to the hospital? It's all these questions, right? But I only have one question. And it's to God. My question was, why? Why would you let me leave with somebody that I wasn't coming back with? Why? Why would you? This is the first time I felt. You ever left with something one way and it didn't come back the same way? The responsibility. Sometimes we don't know how responsible we are for people until we don't bring them back the same way. We don't know how responsible we are for something until we don't bring it back the same way we left with it. Me with Aunt Thelma was never an answer, a question of trust. It's what the hell happened? How come she did not come back the way that she left? And my thing with God was, how come you let this happen on my watch? And then I have to explain what I can't explain. Devastating. Devastating. And it caused such a rift and such an uproar. And some family was like, wow, you're brave. And other was like, what happened now? That was one thing. And even in the midst of that thing, I still went on. I still went on to school. I still went on to do what I needed to do. So 9 months after that, no, how many months was that? So Thelma was in May. The next year, that was 2015. The next year, little Thelma, my mama, who's responsible for all this grain, her, I go home, it's Thanksgiving, and I was supposed to be returning back to school, but I did not return to school because my sister was going through something, and I did not want my mama to take on more responsibility. So I said to Mom, Mama, I'll stay home a little longer. I'm going to call my professors to see if they could just send my work. I just tell them I got an emergency. And so that was that. So I ended up staying a little longer. At this point, it's like December or something. And I also was trying to help my mama find a house because her house just wasn't it. So she finally decided to move. I was so happy that she decided to move. So, like, literally buy a house. So we called a realtor and all this type of stuff, and looking for a house, and it was going well. So my mom worked from Thursday night to Sunday morning. She was a caregiver, right? And was it Friday night to Saturday, Sunday, something like that. So she went to work. I called her the next day. We were talking about the house, showing her different houses and all type of stuff, and just, kicking it. And the realtor called me on Saturday morning to tell me to confirm the house that my mom said that she wanted, right? I called her because I just talked to her the night before. She didn't answer the phone, but it was early, right? And so I knew she wasn't going to answer the phone, but I called her anyway because my mom and the lady she worked for, was 95. They would sleep all afternoon. My mama treated her job like it was her second house. So I waited again. I waited till like 11 to call, and she didn't pick up the phone. And so everybody was saying, like, Kenya, they sleep all day. Like, call her later. And so I called Zaire because I wanted to talk to mama, right? And Zaire said, Zaire, did you talk to your grandma? And he said, I tried calling her twice and she didn't answer the phone. So when Zaire said that to me, I was like, okay, I'm taking a trip to Hilton Head, South Carolina, because that's where she worked. She lived in Savannah, but she worked in Hilton Head. So I said, I'm taking a trip to Hilton Head. So here it is. I go take this trip. Well, I didn't. First of all, I got a lot of pushback because I didn't have a thing on my car to let me on the place is called Hilton Head Plantation where my mother worked, right? So I was telling them, so I'm about to go to Hilton Head to check on mama and Nadine. So everybody thought it was kind of silly, like, why are you going all the way to Hilton Head to check on her? Because I can. So I called her best friend because he was the only one that had the thing on the car. So he was like, well, why don't you text her? I said, I already texted her. I already called her. I already took all these steps. I said, but I'll text her again. So she didn't text me back. So he said, well, call the Hilton Head Plantation police. I said, okay. I called the Hilton Head Plantation police. They went by the house. They said, ma'am, nobody's there. I called them back again. Nobody's there. So they said, call Bluffton police. I called Bluffton police. Now, this all because my mom was at work and she didn't answer the phone. Now watch this. Bluffton police said, well, ma'am, she's not missing. She's at work. She's probably out somewhere. I said, well, she don't drive. Nadine doesn't drive. And she said, well, we need 24 hours. I'm like, okay. So now by this time, y'all, it's like 2, 3 o'clock. Like, I'm trying to get to Hilton Head, right? And it don't make sense to nobody else, but it makes sense to me. So finally, we head out to Hilton Head. At first, we go to the hospital because we was thinking, like, maybe Nadine, because she's 95, maybe she's at the hospital. Maybe mama left her phone at home, blah, blah, blah. Nadine's at the hospital. So then we go on the plantation. Now, Hilton Head is like 45 minutes away from where my mom lived to an hour. So we go to the house. Nadine has this big old golf course. Like, she has this big old golf course, like, behind her house, right? So I go to the back of her house, and at this time when we left, my pop, which is her husband, wanted to go. So it's this big old golf course behind the house. So I go in the back of the house, and I look through the window, and I see my mother's phone. I see her shoes. I see her glasses. All right there. I said, I said, okay. I said, she's in the house. Because maybe, first of all, I knocked. I rang the doorbell, no answer. And then so I went over to Nadine's window. Nadine had like this rectangular window over her bed, right? So I jumped, and she has a mirror facing her bed. So when you look in the mirror that's facing her bed, Nadine's still in the bed, and it's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock, right? So I said, okay. I said, she's in the house. Because Nadine's in the bed, so she's in the house. So I used to work there too. And so the caregivers, we had this, we have our own room. So I go to the room where my mother and I would sleep when I was working there, the caregiver's room, and I couldn't get close to the window because it was like sticky bushes. But I made myself get close to the window so I can see if I could see something. And I saw my mother sitting in the chair, gone. Right? So she's in the chair at work, and she done passed away. So I call the police. I call the Hilton Head Plantation police. I said, my mother's in the house. That's how I said it. I said, she's in the house. They said, what? I said, she's in the house and she's not here. She's gone. She's dead. How you know she's dead? I said, I don't know. I said, all I know is that we was trying to reach her all day long and nobody said that she was home. But when I get here, she's not answering the phone. I said, something is wrong. I just felt that she was gone. So she's sitting up in the chair. So I waited. The Hilton Head police came. They run around the house because usually it's something on the outside to help you get inside the house. So then we had to try to find her son and something to get in the house. It was all these kind of technical things we had to do. So the police came. They broke down the door. They had to get some type of permission to get into the house. And it's freezing outside. It's cold. And that's what I remember. I remember the cold. So it's freezing outside. They get into the house and she's gone. Right? Okay. Now, when they find somebody dead like that in the house, they don't let you in. And so they didn't know what my response was going to be. So they had the ambulance, the police, and everybody just standing up against the door. Now, at this time, I am in school. I'm about to start my chaplaincy. And I'm telling them, I'm like, y'all don't have to stand at the door. I mean, I'm not going to try to run in the house. You know what I'm saying? You know, when things get really high, I get really calm. So I started calling people and to let them know that my mama's gone, their sister gone, you know, and stuff. Fast forward. Here it is. Big Thelma is gone. Little Thelma is gone. And I am confused. I have a whole problem with God. And I think one of the things that growing up I wasn't taught is how to deal with having a God that I believe in, but I no longer trust. I no longer trust because I'm thrown off. And I was feeling embarrassed. And I was feeling bad because here it is. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. And I'm mad with God. Here it is. I'm a believer and I'm a Christian and I don't trust him. I don't know who he is no more. I thought I knew who he was. But then when this happened, I didn't know that after losing our Thelma that way and after finding the other Thelma this way, that I would have this reaction. I didn't even ask for this reaction. It came. I was disappointed that the one that I loved, that I thought loved me, had let me down. And I did not know how to sort out those emotions because I've never had them before. Anytime prior to that I saw anybody else that went through something devastating, my answer would be, God will work it out. It'll be all right. I will put a religious stamp on their pain so quick because I didn't have an answer. I didn't even know there was a way to handle people who experience such grief. What do you do when you find yourself in a place where you're like, Lord, why? and you're the minister and you're the preacher. Now you're confused. Now you don't know. Now you're disappointed. Now your hope has been shattered. What do? Let me tell you what's so good about God. When he allowed you to experience devastation, and he allowed you to experience pain that you cannot explain, and he allowed you to feel something that you never felt before, and it's against him. He allows you to go through that process. Hey, Marilyn. He allows you to find him in that darkness. Yes. He helps you rediscover him in a different way. I was thinking to myself during that time, Lord, you brought me this far. Here I am, about to start my unit as a chaplain, as a believer, and I'm not believing. I'm about to go minister to people something I can't stand on. I was just standing on it last week, God. But since this happened, it has slipped from under me, and I don't even know how to get it back. I want to read something. Oh my God, what this pastor name? I didn't even write it down. I'm so sorry, y'all. Oh my God, it was just in my head. Not Mike Murdoch. It might be Mike Murdoch. Oh gosh, it's going to come to me. I think this is Mike Murdoch. Forgive me. Let me read this. It says, what is our hope in pain? Let me read this. It says, it is, I don't need my glasses for this. It is the promise of God that he can bring good out of anything, even pain, if we trust him. Romans 8:28 is one of the that's better. One of the most beloved verses in the Bible, but it's also one of the most misquoted. It does not say all things that happen to us are good. That is obviously untrue. Rape, cancer, war, disease, racism, starvation are not good. It does not say all things will have a happy ending. That too is not reality. Not every injustice is corrected. Here is what the Apostle Paul actually says. And we know we don't have to guess. It says, let me read it here because I'm going to a different part of it. Romans 8:28. It did not break down what I'm trying to say. We know that all things, that part right there that we know means that we don't have to guess, right? That we have assurance. He says that we know that all things work together for them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. I like this part because he broke down that all things. He said this includes our hurts, mistakes, genetics, experiences, even those who hurt us. We know that all things, then it says God works for good. This part, God works for good. He says not everything is good, but God is always working for our good in everything. Anyone can bring good out of good, but God can bring good out of evil. He turns the crucifixion into a resurrection. Only God can bring good out of evil. The example, one of them is he turns a crucifixion into a resurrection. Now watch this. First, Big Thelma has a heart attack in my car, end up being brain damaged, dead, end up dying 2 weeks later, right? Then later, right after her, not long after her, I find my mother at work. I was barely cruising without Thelma. I was going on. I was moving forward. And then mama come and knocked me off my feet. And I had no idea that it would knock me down. God told me something one time. I was feeling so low. I was so heartbroken over her. And I was afraid by my stomach grounding. I was afraid that me feeling so low that I wouldn't be able to lift up myself. And he told me something one time. He said, Kenya, you can't go lower than me. He said, if you hit rock bottom, I'm there. I'm not just here where you feel safe. And I'm not just there where you can look up. I'm everywhere. So if you get low, go right ahead, because you're going to fall into my hands and I'm going to be the lifter of your head. I remember right after mama died, I went right back to school. I left. I went back to Atlanta in so much pain. And I remember I told God, I was like, God, I don't know what to say to you. And the Spirit of the God, Lord, just kept saying, just go to church. He always told me to go to church. Just go to church. At that time, I was going to the only church I went to in Atlanta, Clarkston. And I went to church this time, not so much to worship. I was walking to church like I don't even really want to go. I was just done. And I walked into church. God. My attitude was like, okay. I said to myself, this is literally what I said to myself when I walked in class. And I saying, I don't know what you could say to me. That's where I was at. I'm just telling y'all where I was at. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying where I was. I said, I don't know what you could say to me. And Pastor Moore said something. He said something real good. And what he said lifted my head. What he said made me understand this. Watch this. This is what it made me understand. That he's the potter and I'm the clay. That's what it made me understand. It made me understand that God is God and I'm his creation. He's the potter and I'm the clay. When I left out of church that day, I left with a sense of peace that I've never had. I left knowing that I'm his child. I'm going to tell y'all two other things, and I'm going to be quiet because I don't like my lives to be very long. I don't like it to be very long. Where's that scripture, Jesus? Hebrews says, 10. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. So do not throw away your confidence. Do not throw away your trust. Don't let nothing in this life make you throw away your trust. I'm always preparing my children because I know what things and situations can do. Watch this. Do not throw away your confidence. Do not throw away your trustworthiness. Do not throw away your resilience. Do not throw away your self-confidence, your self-assurance. Do not throw away your safety. Do not throw away your certainty. I know it look bad. I know it feel bad. I know it hurt like hell. I know you can't wait till God answer you, but do not throw away your certainty. Oh my gosh. My confidence was shot. I'm telling you it's good. Because God got a way that when you think you know and you get knocked off your horse, he got a way of picking you up, right? And he puts you on your horse. And he got the rope, and he the one who's guiding you on your horse. He controls the narrative. My mama and my Aunt Thelma situation that I was involved in helped me. Stomach, stop growling. We about to eat. Become a very confident chaplain. It showed me how to have empathy on a whole nother level. I knew how to sit with people. I know how to sit with people who are angry with God. I know how to sit with people who don't understand why my wife was pregnant with 3 babies, and with the full term, all 3 babies died. I knew how to sit with that person, that couple. Yeah. And hear them be frustrated with God, because God is not moved by our unfaithfulness. He's not moved by our anger. He is good regardless of us. So even when we are unfaithful, he remains faithful because he knows how to draw us back in. No matter how long it takes. Ooh. Psalm 73:21 through 28. When my heart was grieved. This is not David. This is, I always say his name wrong, but I'm going to say it right. Aspis. He was one of the priests. He's one of the musicians. He wrote this Psalm 73:21 through 28. He said, when my heart was grieved and my spirit embittered, I was senseless and ignorant. I was a brute beast before you, yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. He said, the way I looked at things, I thought about the wicked in this way, and I thought that you did not see them. And I was feeling all kinds of ways. I was grieved. I was hurt. He said, I was ignorant. Then he thought about it. He said, but you are always with me. And not only that, he remembered that, and I am with you. Nothing in our life take God by surprise. There's purpose in pain. God knew his plan for me, and he also knew that I needed experience in order to know how to minister to people who are grieving. Who are grieving. People, especially believers, I found this to be true. They don't know how to handle their own feelings when they feel like life has took a horrible turn, and now they are feeling some dis-ease and displeased with God. And now they incorporate that with, oh God, I'm just so out of alignment. God not love me. He said that without faith it's impossible to please him. And I'm trying to have faith. And I know that God taketh and he this, all these things. They don't even know how to be human. They don't know how to be, and the people around them don't know how to allow them to be human. Don't let somebody's experience have to be your experience before you understand. If you don't understand, that's fine. Shh, be quiet. Pray for them. Pray for them. Pray that God give you the spirit of peace on you, so that when you walk in a room with somebody in great distress, the presence of God is on you. And you're not trying to fill in for God. I'm angry. Don't say that. No, be angry. God not moved by people anger. He teaching them something. He giving them a testimony. He rebuilding them. He's shaping them. It makes me think about my grandma. If she did not go through some of the things she went through, she would not be able to empathize with me to help me come out of a certain place. She didn't get so saved and start beating me up beside the word with her hand because now she's out of it. And no, she was able to reach back to what she went through to help me get through what I was going through. Guys, stomach, we about to eat. Hush. I got another scripture that I want to read. I pulled up 1,000 of them. Y'all hear my stomach? Is it real loud? 2 Corinthians 1:3-4 say, "Blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of all mercy, and the God of all comfort." Like, have you ever just needed comfort from God? You know when you pray and you're going through something, I can say, "Lord, comfort me." The Bible says that you're the God of all comfort. God, help me. God, be with me where I am. God, I can't handle this. I don't even know how to feel about it. I don't know what to do with it. But this is what's going on with me. This is what I'm feeling, God. I don't trust you. My confidence feels sharp. God, restore me. I give it to you. Because we don't always have the answers. And we don't know how one thing will make us feel from the next. But he's able. And he's bigger than our feelings. He's bigger than our fears. He's bigger than our doubt. He's bigger than us. He's bigger than our situation. And we can take it to him just like it is. And we can't get so low that he doesn't see us. It cannot get so dark that he's not able to shine on it. I thank God for Big Thelma and for Little Thelma. And for teaching me how to love on people a different way. For teaching me how to sit with people. For teaching me how to comfort people. I thank God for allowing me to experience that pain. I thank him because it ended up working out, not just for my good, but for the good of those that I encountered and those I encountered. Glory be to God. Thank you all for listening.